Paula from Chic Emporium, and today we're going to do this little project on this little round table that I picked up from a junk shop. I've printed off an Alice in Wonderland quote that I'm going to go into more detail later and show you how to image transfer it onto this table. And we're going to use a different technique that I haven't used before that I'm hoping that you're going to find a bit easier. But the first thing I've got to do before I get to all of that is paint the whole table in white. Any old white will do. But I've got ivory tower open, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'll come back to you when I've got the whole table marked off in white. Okay, see you in a bit. Right, so I've painted it all white, and if you can see, I've drawn out some lines because in keeping with Alice, I'm going to do a little bit of checker over to the edges. So I need to do that first, and I'll explain why when we get to the next stage. So I'll come back when I've done that. Right, as you can see, I've finished all of the painting and I've added some card signs because that's very in keeping with Alice. Some of these lines aren't perfect, but I'm going to tidy those up in a minute and I'll show you how. So first of all, we're going to move on to, I've printed out this quote. Basically, I just went onto Google and looked up Alice quotes, and I quite like this one. Imagination is the only weapon in the war against reality. I can't tell you how I made it go squirrely because that was over to my lovely clever son, God bless 15-year-olds, who went onto Photoshop and made it curly. But if you're desperate to know, I can probably get him to do some little tutorial for you. I also downloaded onto my computer before I did it Alice in Wonderland font, which was free. So I googled Alice in Wonderland font. So I've got this lovely quirky writing. So that's another thing you can do, is look up fonts. So what I've done is scribbled on the back with a normal HB pencil all over where the writing is. You can hold it up to the light to make sure that you've got it. And I'm going to place it here to transfer the writing that I've got onto the table. Now the magic trick that I've done that I haven't done before in previous ones is, before I've got to this stage, I have covered the whole of the table in finishing coat. And I will explain why when we get to the next stage. So it's been finishing coated and dried. So now I'm going to use a biro to go over the writing that I've got as carefully as I can all the way around, and it should, because of the pencil underneath, transfer it.
Whoops-a-daisy makes my blood flow. Not so lazy cause I love you inside out. Time is a wasting while you hold out. So frustrating cause you know that you're looking amazing and I love you inside out.
Right, so I've done all the writing and I've pressed quite hard, but look at that for a transfer. It's come out really clear, which is going to be really easy to now go over. So in the past, when I've done this in previous videos, I've now spent a lot of time meticulously doing it with a really tiny paintbrush, and that's quite hard, and that's quite hard even for someone that does it quite regularly. So I've discovered that by putting the finishing coat on, because the paint underneath is really chalky, so, and I've tried for lots of years finding different pens that would write on it, which is much easier than a paintbrush, but it didn't because of the chalkiness and it was gathering up on the pen. But by putting the finishing coat down, magic. So I have got a Sharpie pen that you might have to try different pens, but Sharpie pens definitely work and they're cheap and you can get them anywhere. I bought these in Tesco's Express last night. So I've got fine point one, and this is what I'm talking about, tidying up my lines. I've got so much more control in the paintbrush, and it goes on nice as pie straight over the top of the finishing coat. So I can tidy it all up as such, and I'm going to do this line here as well. I left this deliberately because I knew it would be hard to paint. See, look at that. So I'm going to do that all the way round, but I'm also going to use this pen to go over the writing here really carefully. The writing, I've made it hard for myself, is quite small, but the possibilities are endless now, because if you did a stencil, you can just colour it in with pens, and you can get Sharpies in lots of different colours. So you're not limited to just black. Just make sure you buy the fine point ones at the end so that you've got a little bit more control. So when I've finished filling it all in, we'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. Thank you. Right, so as you can see, I've done the writing. It was really easy with the pen, and I think it really pops. I've tidied up all of the outside line, tidied up the edges and the edges of my shapes. Really chuffed with it. You can do this at home. It was really, really easy. So have a go. Ellen, do your Winnie the Pooh thing. I want to see the pictures. Thank you very much for all your support, and follow me and subscribe to my channel. My Facebook page is www.facebook.com/The Emporium Furniture, which will take you straight to Chic Emporium. Thank you very much. Till the next time.